Howdy, DC On Screen fans. How would you like a piece of original artwork from one of us here at DC On Screen?
All right, we're aware that you've never thought of that before, but here's the deal. We need your help because the internet is a giant monster that requires numbers and regular feeding times. And then these algorithm things that are like our personal demons that we can't defeat alone. Do the right thing. Go over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review or a more honest review if you feel absolutely led to. And then email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. What we're going to need you to do is just write in an address. Tell us who you are. Give us whatever address you want us to send you something at. You know, if you don't want us to know where you live, send it to your neighbors and go steal his mail, whatever.
Yeah.
Just give us that, and then we need you to write Dave or Jason, and then we need you to write the name of a character. We're going to send you a piece of artwork. All I can say about it is that one of us is a good artist and one of us is not. If you've actually been listening to every episode, you might know the secret answer to that, to who you should really ask. But hey, or toss a coin.
Man, you know, once you get the picture from us, take a picture of it or scan it or something, and send it back to us, and we'll put it on Facebook, just like we do with your DC loot.
Yeah, send it back with like critiques if you want to. We don't give a fuck, you know. Draw over it, you know. Pull a Deadpool. Right? Whatever.
One of us might cry.
We'll both probably cry. But whatever. Point is, you know, it's come that time. It's the classic call to action. We need to get out there. We need to get a little bit of the review game going. And this is our humble offering.
Yeah, humble offering. Very humble. I couldn't say it any better myself, man. That was a good pitch.
Oh, thank you.
All right, with that said, settle in for a new episode of DC On Screen. Welcome in to DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason.
Hey.
I don't know why that always makes me laugh.
It gives you joy.
Today we're going to get super spoilery on The Flash 214, Escape from Earth-2.
Yeah. Attack of the Tropes.
Attack of the Tropes. This is oddly not a great episode. Like, this is the second time I've brought up Star Trek today while recording, but this is Best of Both Worlds Part 2, where they kind of wrote themselves into a corner and didn't know what to do, so they were just troped it the hell up until they got out.
Yeah, I mean, as I go through the episode, the first thing I'm thinking is like the fire writing on the side of the building. That was cool.
It was cool, but it was kind of lame.
Yeah, I mean, just fire writing on the side of the building. I mean, it's hard for that to look too lame, man.
No. That, you know what was lame, though? Fire rating on a building, fine. That'll get the press. Everyone will see that shit.
Sure.
What was lame was him passing out flyers.
Yeah. That was funny. But I liked getting all the FaceTime with Zoom. But that that one made me chuckle too. Like, come on, that's the best idea you've got. Like, I mean, when the Joker wants to send a message, he like spells it. He literally spells out his request in dead bodies or something. Like, that one lucky cop.
Zoom uses his super speed to pass out flyers.
Right. I mean, and
Zoom.
for that kind of direct mail marketing, it would only cost him a few $100s to just have someone do that.
Right.
Surely there are better things he can do with his nearly infinite time.
Yeah. So already like 5-6 minutes in, Barry 2 already annoying as hell.
Yeah.
They made him say heck a lot.
I know. They kept focusing on the fact that he wasn't actually going to swear. But
they made him Clark Kent, the old Christopher Reeves Clark Kent. That's what they did.
They did. Actually, more nervous somehow. I mean, I don't blame him for being nervous. He's just a regular dude. Like 2 days ago, he was just a CSI guy, and like now Zoom's personally tracking him down, and Harrison Wells has him tied to a radiator or some shit. Well, I understand he's having a weird couple days.
In the last episode, Joseph really, really sold it on Barry being a douchebag who sees himself as better than everyone.
I know that, and there's none of that happening.
There's none of that. Absolutely none of that happening.
I kept expecting it to show up. I kept expecting him to show an edge that we didn't think was there, and now I'm just thinking Joseph was a dick. Like, that's all I've got left now. Is like, oh man, he was really an overbearing asshole. God, you're gonna be probably pretty glad not to have that father-in-law hanging around.
Yeah. Oh man, I just didn't get it because
no, that was not well executed. It just and that's what I think this particular cast is going to boil down to. This was not a well-executed episode, and we're used to so much better from The Flash. This has been they have been riding the fucking ticket, and this didn't cut it. Like, it wasn't up to what they normally do. I mean, don't get me wrong, still as charming as it can be. Like, even E2 Barry saying, like, I'm sorry, he got frisky with you? Like, okay, funny, fine.
Well, I'm going to have words with him.
Right.
Yeah, I bet you will, buddy.
Vibe, as always, or Cisco, I don't know when we want to start calling him Vibe exclusively, but not yet, I suppose. He's a bad guy. I'm calling it a lair. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And when E2 Barry insists he wants to come, and like collectively, all three of them, no.
Yeah.
I love that. I love where Cisco's been. Like last year, a couple of years ago, he's just a lab tech, and then now he's one of the guys who gets to tell the other guys, "No, this mission's too hard for you."
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, buddy.
I was happy that they skipped over all the Velocity 8 and went right to Velocity 9.
That
was good.
That one made me happy. I was surprised too. I thought they would do one more quick mission, and you know what it saved us though is that quick mission where he failed would have been more FaceTime with Geomancer. So
yeah,
thank you,
Geomancer.
Then it makes your heart sad when I say it, doesn't it?
It does. Like, I actually wrote down Geomancer terrible, quote, I like to watch heroes fall and not get back up.
Mm-hmm. How many heroes are there in the Flashverse right now? Like, how many times have you done that? Has he just been picking on, like, successful cops?
Yeah.
Who are the heroes he's talking about? Plural, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what made it better? The badness of Geomancer actually made it great when Caitlin just like threw that boot around his neck. I know she was aiming for his leg. Doesn't matter. That was amazing.
That was good. I liked seeing her get a little action. And
I was like, yes!
Look, what did I miss? How the fuck did Geomancer find Star Labs? I mean, I know he knows where Star Labs is. It's a giant building in the middle of the city. Just how did he know he was supposed to go there? What did I miss?
He followed Jay?
Like, through the magic of
I don't know.
Video editing, or through, and if you don't want to ignore or forgo magic, then through the very real-world processes of poor writing, he found his way.
Yeah. That did not go as planned. Her name starts as Killer. This comes as a shock to you?
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
And oh man, Cisco out there like rubbing in. You can hear a little bit of turning the screw in his voice. Caitlin just keeps insisting.
Mm-hmm.
Good speed. I mean,
except for that one part where he called her Elsa.
Oh yeah, Elsa was pretty fantastic.
That was great.
He did. I think Scott mentioned that he gangstered up a little bit and did a great job with it. This is one of the reasons we love this character so much. Is he's got a real backbone to him, and there's so much flesh that you can get out of that. But all right, so masked guy. That.
Now, hold on. Before we get to masked guy,
okay,
because that's going to take a minute.
I will.
I wrote down here, I did not learn my lesson from Fringe. We can keep going back and forth between Earth-2, the two Earths forever. Surprisingly, I'm back to liking Jay, which will feed into the masked dude theory here in a second.
Jay in the last episodes has finally stepped up and like gotten over the whole I don't want to do the velocity blah 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 blah. Well, now it came down to, hey man, we need a Flash, and you're the guy. And he finally stepped back up, and that was what I needed. That was really what I needed out of him. Absolutely.
Can I just say that I did enjoy Barry too saying, "No, ma'am, I'm wearing wingtips here."
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I'm just wearing wingtips here. Poor bastard. And speaking of which, though, Killer Frost was a lot better this episode. She still overdid it a little, but like if she had done this for the previous episode, I wouldn't have been watching. I wouldn't have even been focusing on it. But I was specifically watching her this time, going, "Come on, bring it in, yes, deliver the lines."
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into the last bit. One, yes, the inspirational speech from Barry 2 to Barry 1 should not have been enough to actually get Barry to be able to phase through.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was lazy, that was dumb. So much so that it's not just us saying it. Scott Madison said it.
I
believe he said, the power of positive thinking does not let Barry pass through the cell wall.
There you go.
Charles McFall messaged us to let us know how stupid it was,
right.
how lazy the writing was.
Like, people that don't normally stop for every episode, I felt like, stop to show up and go, guys, did y'all see that? That was fucking ridiculous. I know.
Yeah, and sadly, we're the ones apologizing for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I'm sorry. This can't always be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot always be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
I defer back to the first season.
Right. I mean, it's shown a lot of progress, and that's the reason we've liked this one so much is because it has, God, it's been so tasty. Mm-hmm. And this was stale. But yeah,
this was bad.
Everyone got involved in that one. I mean, I had people at work that I don't at all like. I had the guy at work that we don't talk TV too much, but we talk about the Flash a good bit. Like, ask him like, hey, how'd you like that? Oh, it was pretty cool, right? Nothing too deep. But he even stopped at this point and was like, well, that speech though, that was a little corny, right? I'm like, yep, your instincts are on, man. Don't be afraid. You're right. You're right. You're not being overcritical here, I promise. That was lame. Okay.
Yeah. Whew.
It wasn't even the best speech they've ever conjured either.
No.
God, like Run Barry Run was tear jerking. And Barry can do great speeches too. Grant Gustin can deliver a fucking monologue, but
yeah, well, Run Barry Run out of the mouth of a Kavanaugh.
It's fried gold right there. Slice of fried gold.
Nom, 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 nom. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, I'm just Barry Allen, but you're the Flash. Ugh, shut up.
I did things today that I never thought I could do. Man, you had a bad day. Like, the Flash is being targeted, has been he's being targeted by one of the most dangerous people currently on the planet that we know about. And
now look,
you had to climb up a wall with wingtips.
Well, yeah. But here's why you can if you can tell yourself you can do it, whatever bullshit falls especially flat.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't feel earned at all. And I say that because like throughout the episode, Barry is the one, not even Earth-2 Barry, but our Barry,
right,
in the cell is the one telling Jesse, we can do it, we can figure out the code that this dude is knocking on, we can do this. He's the one giving the inspirational speech.
Right.
I expect that if that, positive thinking piece of shit is going to be saying all that, then if he says, hey, look, this is made out of a thing that I can't phase through because the frequency is different on this Earth, well, that makes perfect sense to me in the Flash universe. I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, because you vibrate at a different frequency than anything on this Earth.
Which is all nonsense, but it's nonsense that we know the rules of.
Yeah, it's nonsense that we know the rules of. So, like, the reason he gave was not, I can't do it because I suck. Mm-hmm. The reason he gave was science. So, to have,
because, and he's in there, he's in there trying. I mean, it just didn't feel like, I didn't feel like he needed the pep talk. I felt like he needed a solution.
Right. It was just out of character for him in this episode. He hasn't been like this. It's just like, no, oh, you wrote yourself into a corner. Oh, okay, I understand.
Right, yeah. Oh, and you want to talk out of character? That's not even the most egregious one for me on this on this episode. Dude, Jesse, fuck your friends.
Oh my God, how awful was that?
That was ridiculous. I mean, plain,
that was so stupid,
ridiculous. Like you were just pissing yourself 45 minutes ago.
I mean, I guess at her heart she's still a teenage girl, but
no. She's she's a PTSD victim. Like they have her painted in this episode where, like, in the last few episodes, when we've seen her in jail, the picture they've painted is that, like, she sees him and just starts sobbing because she feels so helpless and way out of any kind of fucking league she's ever seen, and she just imminent death is all you can see in her eyes, and suddenly it's all gone. Like, well, I can't see him anymore. Mm-hmm. Has the memory of a goldfish. This is, by the way, that goldfish is the person that Wells said is smarter than he. So we'll see about that.
She's still a kid, though.
I know. It's just,
I'm not saying it's dumb, but if I don't know, one of my parents told me we had to go to a separate Earth where I didn't, know anyone because there was a crazy maniac going after somebody, I'd be like, well, what about Jason and Brandon?
Yeah,
and Matt and Spencer.
Like, if your dad comes home and suddenly one afternoon you realize, like, oh, my dad's a spy and there are people trying to kill us. All of this is revelatory for you. yeah, then you can justify some intransigence about leaving there. Like, then it's more like you haven't seen it. You don't have. You're just taking it all on faith, and everything's about to change, and you're just scared about losing your friends or something. That's how that gets done. Not after you've seen Zoom. No, if you show me Zoom, there is not an amount of Earths I'm going to tell you that I'm not willing to travel.
Yeah, that's, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think it's dumb.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I'm just saying I might think of friends. I probably wouldn't voice the concern because that would be dumb.
Right.
Like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I can make new friends. Let's go away. Let's get out of here before this crazy bastard with super speed kills me.
Right.
Just
on its face. So
mystery
bad.
dude.
Yeah. You saw the hairline, right?
Yeah, I saw his hair. Look like John Wesley Ship hair.
I couldn't. It looked like either Garrick or Ship hair.
Yeah. Which he still does look kind of oldish. So I'm gonna think he. Man, here's something I was thinking though. Is it possible that our Jay Garrick that the Jay Garrick that we know is actually Hunter Zolomon from Earth-2?
It is, but then you have to give him. When I thought about that idea, what you have to give the Jay Garrick that we've been getting to know, that's apparently Jay Garrick Hunter Zolomon. You have to kind of give him malintentions somewhere in there for that to be. Because why has he been lying to this entire Earth?
Yeah.
And he's clearly Jay, unless they've been showing us one person and in Earth-1 like pre, and then doing another one. That just gets weird. Plus, if that's a Hunter Zolomon, well, that still doesn't necessarily rule out that Zoom could be somebody. I mean, that Hunter Zolomon just mentioning those words could be absolutely irrelevant. That could just be the writers fucking with us, obviously. But at that point, why was Zoom trying to track him down? I mean, when we met him, he was definitely Jay Garrick getting tracked down by Zoom on another Earth.
Well, no. When we met him, he was stalking our heroes and wound up telling them that story.
Well, yeah,
which happened to coincide with the helmet going through. So everything we've seen of him in the past in Earth-2 was him telling us that, which could have very well been a lie.
Except for the one scene that's a flashback. I should have phrased it that way. The first chronological time that he's been seen on camera, or on screen here, is the shot of him being chased down by Zoom and the helmet flying off.
Was he not telling that story?
I don't remember if he was.
I mean, I guess it's still.
I think he was telling people that story, but it's still. It didn't reek of like this was my version of the story, and it's going to end up being told differently later. And it doesn't feel like a trick they've used. That doesn't feel like them. Doesn't feel like the Flash writers. But neither does episodes. Whatever.
Well, I mean, he did knock out the. He did say Jay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to know one of the really truly crazy theories that I'm loving right now?
What's that?
That he looks like John Wesley Shipp's hair and everything. And it'll end up being John Wesley Shipp's face, but he's gonna end up being the Jay that died in like episode 1 of the '90s Flash, a version of him, like Jay Allen.
I did consider that.
That would be one fucked up callback.
The first thing I thought when he said Jay, I went, oh, no. And then I was like, no, seriously, dude, that can't be.
No, that can't be. That can't be. Get it out of my head. Get out of my head.
But it did occur to me, like, what if that is John Wesley Shipp Flash, and he's trying to explain to our Flash that Zoom is Jay Allen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be some badass stuff?
And like, you never knew, like, he did. He tapped out Jay, and we don't know if that means who he is, or if we don't know, he could be trying to say who Zoom is. He could just plain be trying to tell them who they need to get in touch with to help this situation better. By the way, why did this room full of heroes like ignore the guy in the caged man in the mask? Like, room full of well-intentioned folks goes in. I know they all have their own personal battles, but there's also like this helpless person over here, and Barry's the one who finally goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're taking him too." Mm-hmm. That was bizarre.
That was weird. It was, but I mean, what do you want to do? I mean. They barely figured out how to get Barry out, man.
I get that, but damn. And I went wild with a couple of the theories. Let's say, all right, we have misplaced Zolomons. We have only one Garrick that we know of. Like the problem is we don't know if there's like a name switch of some kind. Hell, they could. I mean, you can get all soap opera. Maybe they've got a twins aspect to them.
I was thinking though, if it was like if Caitlin was like looking for like, I don't know, Jay Garrick on her Earth as opposed to like a Jason Garrick or something.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have found, the real Jay Garrick. She would have found who would be the Earth-2 Zoom. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you got to find Hunter Zolomon. That's it."
Right. And they haven't been clear about that.
That could be part of the deception.
A lot of people have the same name on both Earths, which is bizarre. But there are cases of people who don't. I mean, wasn't her name Iris West in Earth-2? Or West Allen, I mean. Iris West Allen.
Well, yeah, they were married.
But point being, like, your names are going to be very different depending on a number of things. And, like, the possibility of them being this far into either civilization and people still having perfect parity of names is weird. Mm-hmm. But we don't know if that's relevant, because that could mean that, he's just named Hunter Zolomon here, no big deal. And it could just mean, it could be relevant. It could be, well, he's named something different here, so that means something. They haven't given me enough to know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And I didn't, what even occurred to me is, I know as crazy as it sounds, what if Hunter Zolomon was never there, and Jay Garrick isn't as damaged as we thought he was, or he pretended to be, and he was doing the be in two places at once trick to Caitlin.
I guess that's possible.
And then you have to assign malintent to Jay because he's been lying to them the entire time.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no. I don't think there's a way that this theory ends well for Jay Garrick, except for the dude in the man in the iron mask, whatever.
Right.
He would have to be Jay Garrick at some point then.
I was hoping that we have a situation where, like, when we saw... I take it back. Chronologically, the first time we saw Jay Garrick, he was... he interrupted Harrison Wells' speech. Mm-hmm. And what if it was that? What if that was still Jay? But what if that's the guy who got caught by Zoom and put in the cage? And the Jay who ended up coming over is some other asshole that we have yet to discover yet. Like, maybe he is Hunter Zolomon. There is a twin aspect to it or something. Yeah. And, if that's the case, you still have to figure out who the hell Zoom is. It gets weird. It gets real weird on you.
Yeah. I briefly, when there was the theory going around that the dude in the mask was a black guy, I was really kind of hoping it was his buddy from Flash 90 series. What was his name? Julio. Right. I was like, oh man, if it was Julio, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be good.
But yeah, just bring in that other guy. They've had pretty much they've had everyone. They've had Amanda Pays, they have John Wesley Shipp, they've even had freaking dude, Bellows.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's heavily in there. Another absolutely crazy theory. All right, so the end of the episode, Jay gets pulled back into Earth-2, right? This gets into time remnants a little bit, but he gets pulled into Earth-2 and put in the mask at that point. And then is kind of like kept in stasis, and he actually sends him back through time because he can't send him back through the portal anymore. So he sends him back through time before the portal was there, or before the portal was broken. And Zoom would I assume have the speed to do that, especially if he had a J with some V9 in him.
That is absolutely what they're going to do.
Like, that ends up being him, and he's holding Jay himself hostage in one time frame and sending him back through time to go be devious as all hell and get him a Velocity 9 formula. Because he gets in there and he sees that, like, in this version of it, Zoom gets Jay over there and realizes he's got his speed back, and and takes a close look at him and realizes he's got a new formula and thinks, oh my god, I could do so much with that, and sends him back to retrieve it, essentially.
I would be willing to bet real money that that's what they do. Just because they did set up the time remnant thing, so you're probably absolutely correct.
Like,
that's a really good call.
That one's a really out there one, but it's out there enough that it might.
That is not out there. That's not out there. They set up the speed. I mean, in the time remnant thing, and now with Zoom having grabbed Jay, he probably is an old Jay. He really is. He probably is just old Jay Garrick. Absolutely, that's a good call.
I like it.
That's a really good call. Yeah. And as soon as you said it, I was like, oh shit, that's it. That's what they're doing. You could
totally, like, you could make someone's past or future self do whatever you wanted as long as you have the present self in captivity. Yeah.
And I think my hope for, Jay Allen or 90s Barry Allen, whatever. All of that shit just blinded me to the truth of the situation. The truth that you just said.
That there's time travel still?
Yeah.
And that could just simply be Jay in the cage.
Yeah.
And at this point, he'll have needed to be there for a while. And at that point, I think for him to do it, technically, he has to get there. Jay has to see himself in the cage, and Zoom has to, at that point, take Jay that's in the cage out, put present Jay back in the cage in the thing, and then take present Jay that was in the cage back and have him do all the dirty work because he's the one who's seen how bad it can be. And then take present Jay and say, if your past Jay doesn't come back and do this, once the timeline cements, this is where you'll cement. I think that's how that would work. I'm sure there are.
Oh, look. Scott Madison is pretending, apparently, that he calls him Destro.
Yeah.
Dude with the metal mask he's pretending he's Jay Allen.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Now here's something that Scott noticed, and I think I noticed it, but just kind of figured it was the second thing that he mentions. I just figured it was an aesthetic thing for in editing. But he said when they traveled to Earth-2 last episode, we got a glimpse of 90s Flash in the breach vortex. If you look closely, you will see that the lightning bolt on his chest travels top to bottom, left to right. This is the reverse of Earth-1 Flash, and really all Flash designs that we know of. When we get a clear look at Zoom, you will see his lightning bolt travels from top to bottom, left to right, just like 90s Flash. I think this could mean that Zoom is really actually 90s Flash. He also mentions that it could just be them aesthetically changing it so that it fits better, looks better on the screen. I think it's probably the second one, but they are really into that kind of detail.
They are
on that show.
Like that one seemed entirely plausible because that's totally something I would trust that these guys might think of. And
yeah.
I really don't know. I had one more crazy, not completely crazy, I guess. Anyway, I had one more theory about him that Zoom has like a name and that has yet to be mentioned. I mean, he's going to have a name, but it's no one you've heard yet. And the tall blonde guy in the park is a complete red herring. Doesn't matter.
Is it Zoom has a first name? Is it Oscar?
But
sorry, I don't know why that came to mind.
That's fine. But yeah, he it could very well end up being a version of like a Wesley Allen ship version still if they do it. Here's another way they can at least. On some other Earth, he manifested as a hero, but one that didn't have a stopgap in him, like the kind that Wally talks about, maybe being not being able to say no to more speed. Kind of becomes over gluttonous and in that case, if it was the 90s Flash, it would be that he wasn't a strong enough person to like deal with his dad's constant taunting. Because
I do like that.
That his dad was a dick. So if that's the case, then
yeah, but they had pretty much resolved that by the end of the show.
Well, they did. But if you imagine like just taking a couple episodes out, they never resolved that because they really did. They wrapped that up in like an episode or two. But if they didn't do that, and instead he's the kind of person who doesn't have enough backbone to like stand up for himself and ends up going down this kind of road instead, you end up with like an Earth whatever version of Flash that turns into this guy and finally gets fast enough that he actually breaches a universe and realizes, oh my god, there's other universes and other Flashes and I can steal their speed. So he starts doing that, and he's finally narrowed it down, if this theory keeps going, he's finally narrowed it down to just like a couple of universes. He's gone through and pretty much like ravaged the speedsters out of every other Earth version.
Yeah.
Finally gets back to, he's gotten down to Jay Garrick and Barry Allen. Like, he's got his list down to 2 people. And he finds Jay's Flash, but at this point, all hell breaks loose in his tiny little plan, because because at this point, Earth-1, ours, figures out how to breach things itself. And he realizes, oh shit, the Barry Allen kid, he's the fastest. He's the juiciest turkey I've got, and he also happens to be the last one you've got, because you've already plundered everything else. So that's why he's so interested in like fattening that turkey, is because he's thinking it's going to be his last meal, and this is as powerful as he can possibly get himself before he's out.
I wouldn't mind them just go ahead and they could rip off the one with Jet Li altogether. As far as he fights some version of himself from another reality and has to wind up killing him and becomes more powerful as a result, and realizes
I can do this, And if that's the truth, though, like he'll end up going through and like he'll have ended up using a J doppelganger from another universe to like track down, and he kind of uses him as a cipher a little bit to get through universes and track down the next universe and the next speedster.
Yeah, man.
Possible. Either way, and this is the fantasy I've got, is that I feel like Velocity 9, where they've put so much effort into it, and they've mentioned, I mean, like Jesse Quick's on E1 now, like you feel like Velocity 9 is going to end up being the solution here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, probably.
Like the Zoom solution, and if it's the case, I kind of want like the entire team to get on V9, like a team of like a squadron, if you will, of little speedsters, just like all of them. Like Cisco gets it, Caitlin shoots up, everybody hits it up.
Patty comes back as Hot Pursuit, Cosmic Motorcycle, bitches.
I mean, and if they do that, and Cisco doesn't like take one moment before they all run out and do it to call themselves like, this is really all-star squadron, guys, we'll be really annoyed. That's what you're there for, Siski.
Well, I think I saw a thing where they were saying that it's probably going to be a while before we get any more speedsters, but I don't know. It's probably a lot.
It'd be an okay season finale for me, is like pumping them all up. I think it also might end up just plain being, you give Barry V9 and see how fast he gets.
Oh God! I think more than likely that will go to Wally.
Well, that actually is something that worries me, and the fact that until just now, and it's only if he notices, like Zoom might figure out that there's a drug that can do this now that he's got Jay, but he might not. And if he does, then it changes things. But for right now, this V9 concept has been happening outside of Zoom's knowledge. I mean, he's a pretty well informed character on this show, but that one's gotten away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, and it ends up being Wally that takes the V9, what would worry me is that Wally would be having to substitute for Barry, which would mean that Barry was out of commission for some reason, which would be boring. So I think if Wally gets it, it's more likely that he just plain stills it.
Mm-hmm.
Just plain stills it.
I'd be down with that. I don't care how he gets it. I'm just saying there's a thing that
makes
someone who doesn't have super speed have super speed.
Yeah. And you want his to be permanent, though, right? I mean...
Yeah.
One last tweak from Caitlin. Have we mentioned... We hadn't even mentioned how bad that last moment was, have we?
What now?
We haven't even mentioned how bad the last shot in the show was, have we?
Oh, with Zoom grabbing Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, no, please move away. Move away.
He's walking up there and you're just going, oh, please don't do this, guys. Please, it's not earned. It's not good. It's like... Deep Blue Sea was a really bad movie. That was the one thing we all remember from that movie is you don't stand with your back
to anything.
To anything.
Ever.
So the joke I've told a couple times this week when someone's asked me is apparently they don't have horror movies on Earth-2.
Mm-hmm.
RJ would be well aware of this.
Yeah. And, by the way, I know you guys have a certain amount of time to fill over there on the Flash, but when you put things in slow motion like that, it really, telegraphs your move there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just bad staging. Like, he moves up there for no reason. Just none. I mean, there's nothing happens that makes the character walk toward that. And it's also, and McFall pointed this out, it does. It takes longer for that one to close. Like, every time they've thrown, by the way, I'm going to use his phrase, the Cialis football. Every time they've thrown this damn thing at one of the portals, it's done. Out. Little sound effect and we're good. And this one flickers and lingers and it's unnecessary. Like instead, if anything, he should be looking at it going, something's wrong. It's not closing quickly enough, and being more afraid, not standing there like a damn goofy grin fucking idiot. I felt no sympathy for him when he died. When he was taken in. Maybe he's got enough V9 in his system to heal from one of Zoom's little handshakes.
Yeah, I don't think he's... I think he's... Well...
I don't think he's dead.
No, he's not dead.
I mean, it's still a comic book thing, and we didn't see the body.
We didn't see the body.
If we have to see Fish Mooney again, we get to see Jay Garrick again.
Let me tell you something, guys. This is a thing. This is a trope that's been going back even to the old serials. Go look at the old Batman and Robin serials of 1949. Those bastards jumped... a plane blew up, killing them. And then, the next chapter we see, it cuts to, a shot we never saw before, and Batman and Robin jump out of the plane, and then it blows up. No, they didn't have time to do that shit before.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? We didn't see bodies. The tradition is kept alive.
Actually, you just mentioned plane blowing up. What time did those serials come out? 1940?
49.
49? And when did Dark Knight Rises come out? Because that's the amount of time during which apparently the people in charge of Batman's movie presence learned exactly zero. He still doesn't have time to get out of an exploding plane 60 years later. Mm-hmm. And yet he did.
Well, the difference is in 1949, the plane actually was sitting on the ground, I think. I think it was sitting on the ground.
Oh, God.
It wasn't even moving.
I That's pretty poor. Yeah, they couldn't afford the shot of the plane actually going up.
I mean, they did have some shots of the plane being in the air and landing and stuff. I think it was a lot of stock footage, but yeah, they shot it. Yeah.
Right. It was so bad. So bad. And now they've got to figure out a way to breach universes. Oh, man. There's a lot of show to it. But...
I'm down. Whatever.
Of course I'm down. I don't know what the hell happened to this episode, though. That was weak. There's a lot of weak sauce in this thing.
It was a weak episode, but it'll be all right. Hopefully. We'll give you this one, writers, but don't go getting Arrow on us every week.
You're the source of hope in our lives. Don't fail us now.
Speaking of Arrow,
why'd you get onto that?
Talking about Arrow.
Yeah. Get onto that.
We are DC On Screen. You can find every episode, including this one, at dconscreen.com, iTunes, and Stitcher. You can find us on Facebook, /DC On Screen. Go give us some likes and hang out with us and talk to us. We're also on Twitter, /DC On Screen. So we're also proud members, I'll say, of the Giant Size Team Up Network, giantsize.com, giantsizeteamup.com. And go check out our friends Matt Carroll and Jeff Randall at the MCU Cast, Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. Until next episode, keep some DC on your screen.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.